are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College League Podcast. I'm Larck reporting on Twitter. Here to talk today and latest Auburn athletics news as fall camp is currently going on. We got some guys who are currently breaking out to the public, some guys getting on the field for the first time, getting to show off what they can do. But obviously in the conversation for another day, because today we are talking about the 5 ways Auburn can prove that they are back. Now, of course, that is the famous Rod Bramblett line that was said in the 2013 season once D. Ford sacked Johnny Manziel to win Auburn the game on the road in College Station, which proved to the world that Auburn meant business that year. And since then, I mean, Auburn's had a couple of good years, the 2017, 2019, and then, some good starts to years. And I don't really think any good finishes to the years, but Auburn's had like 2 or 3 good decent seasons, decent to good to great in that range since that happened. Now, what I want to do today is kind of go over what Auburn has to do in this season to prove that they are back and are there to stay. Now, I do have an honorable mention. It's not going to show up on the list, but honorable mention, winning record versus the SEC. Auburn has not had a winning record in the SEC since 2020. Now I understand my prediction of 8-4 kind of relies on Auburn going 4-4 in the SEC. Of course, unless Baylor wins and they still get 8-4, then you get that winning record of 4-3. I do believe Auburn has 8 home games this year. It's absolutely ridiculous if I'm not mistaken. I could be very wrong. I'm probably switching a couple of games around. But Auburn does seem to always have a bunch of home games, which, I'm not opposed to. I do enjoy watching, Auburn football play in Jordan-Hare Stadium. It is a very beautiful stadium. 7 games at home. There we go. Okay. So, 4-3 is there for the taking. And, of course, the losses I have on my slate, that's very feasible to hit. So, going into that, Auburn does need to start winning these games in the SEC that they should be winning or should be more competitive in. Arkansas should have been a win last year. You threw the game to them. Oklahoma, you did the same thing. You threw the game to them. Missouri, you failed to score whenever they lost their quarterback who, by some miracle drug was able to come back. Missouri Health Department, I don't know how y'all let that happen because y'all put him right back in the ringer versus Alabama, and look what happened. You should have just let Brady Cook get healthy and then beat Alabama and then, just take the loss to Auburn. That should just happen. And then Vanderbilt, of course, a game that you had in your hands because the defense was trying to feed you, but whenever whenever the ball came to the offense, it went nowhere. And then for some reason in the play calling sheet, I don't know what page we were on, but Jarquez Hunter, of course, was not a part of the game plan, allegedly. I'm not even going to spout the nonsense I said about Jarquez Hunter's work ethic at the end of that game because it was absolutely ridiculous. So, winning record in the SEC would, of course, show that, but I didn't want to put it in my top 5. Honorable mention is where that one's going to go. Now, number 5 on my list is a bowl win. Now, Auburn has not won a bowl game since 2018. Now, what's terrible about that is I was in high school when that happened. That was, of course, or no, was that? No. Sorry. I was completing my first year of high school or first year of college, if I'm not mistaken, because that would be the Auburn-Purdue Music City Bowl, which happened in 2018, and Jarrett Stidham was there. So, that was before. That was during the Christmas. So, that was still 2018. So, that was my freshman year of college. Since then, I have now graduated from Auburn. I'm getting my master's degree. I have a career, and I have a fiance. So, a lot has happened since Auburn has won a bowl game. And you've made a couple since then, but you have been unable to win those games in the postseason. I'll just leave it as postseason win. I want to see Auburn, say 8-4 regular season. 9-4 is perfect. That is a perfect record for Auburn to hit, to show to the world that they're back, to show that there is a systematic growth happening in the Auburn locker room and on the field, just skill-wise, coaching-wise, play-calling-wise, just overall team-wise, proving to the world you can actually win in the postseason. All the great teams do it. And even just like making there. Auburn not made a bowl game. I guess 2023 Auburn did make it, but they got whooped by Maryland. And then, of course, the year prior to that, got whooped by Northwestern and Minnesota. Just a lot of losses that Auburn just should not be taking against teams they should be better than. And, of course, you absolutely wiped the floor with Purdue in 2018. It was like 63-14. Joey Gatewood even got in, and Gus Malzahn held him from getting a touchdown. So, yeah, I think a bowl win is an excellent starting point for this top five because it's something Auburn fans have been asking for quite some time. And, of course, it's not like a make or break for the season. I mean, 2019, Auburn, one of the best teams in recent memory, outside, I guess, in that span, because, of course, 2017, but even at 2017 didn't win their bowl game. 2019 didn't win their bowl game. 2013 didn't win their bowl game, which brings a tear to my eye. Auburn just has not had a good stretch of luck in the postseason, but I think with the tides turning, it should start to shift in the correct direction. 8-4 gets you a very good bowl game. And, of course, doing even better than that, and sorry, I got a hair on my bill. Doing even better than that gets you in the playoff. 9-3 is a playoff spot for an SEC team, or at least it usually is. And now that I'm saying usually that the 12-team playoff's been around, but like 10-2 even. But of course, I'm getting way ahead of myself. 8-4 bowl win, I think, is a great starting point to show that you're back. And of course, this is like a season thing. I don't think like you need like a moment per se. I think more so you need to show throughout the season that you're back because of course it's like the Texas thing all over again. Texas had several great seasons and everyone's like, oh, Texas is back. And then they choke it away in the postseason. And you know, the next season, they just don't play as well going forward. So, yeah, I think a bowl win shows that growth in the correct direction for Auburn. Now, number 4, a winning record at home. This is mostly for the fans. So, Auburn has not had a winning record in Jordan-Hare Stadium since 2022, which, of course, was the year of Brian Harsin getting fired. And, of course, Cadillac having a phenomenal 2.5 game stretch. The Iron Bowl was fun at first. But, yeah, Auburn went 4-4 last year at home. And, you know, this is more of, you know, I'm a little biased. You know, I wear the orange and blue. I have Auburn everywhere. I have all these hats, but nothing beats the number of Auburn hats that I have. It's unfair to the Auburn fans that sell out every single game. And they go there and they watch their team lay the fattest goose egg ever. Cal, you had 5 interceptions. Arkansas, you had 4 interceptions. Oklahoma, you threw a pick 6 to seal the game for Oklahoma to come back and beat you. And then Vanderbilt, all over again. You had these games in the bag, and then just at the end, the heart of every 85,000 fans in the stands gets ripped out. So I think a winning record at home does show growth as well, and I think it's a massive part of what makes Auburn is that the jungle plays a massive part. Basketball understands this. The jungle is a ferocious part of the game. I've been a part of the jungle, and it makes a difference. Auburn has a home field advantage. College football 26 and 25 have it right. Auburn has a home field advantage because of the fans that are surrounding the field. But there are 80-plus players and coaching staff that are unable to get it done for the fans. So one way for Auburn to prove that they're back is, of course, to bring back that winning tradition in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And again, it makes Auburn to, be this ruckus crowd, swag surfing for actual games, not for Alabama A&M or ULM. I don't want to see Auburn swag surf for Mercer. I want to see Auburn in a hard-fought game versus Georgia. I wanted, and again, this game could also have your heart ripped out, but say Alabama, it's a close 7-point game. Third quarter ends, swag surf comes out, and Auburn is juiced for the fourth quarter. I am sick and tired of Auburn grasping at straws for wins and for crowd engagement to play swag surf at mediocre to lower level games. It's not fun for Alabama A&M. It's not. I did it. It was not fun. It was very weird to do that. And you look at the scoreboard, Auburn's up by 60. Auburn needs to bring back that tradition of winning at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I think it's something that Auburn should have listed on the list. Win at home. Win at home. Up next, kind of keeping up the winning mantra. I think it's a couple of these actually. 2 top 25 wins. This has not happened since 2021 when Auburn beat Ole Miss and Arkansas in back-to-back weeks. After that, season completely fell apart. Completely fell apart. Bo Nix got hurt. Season was basically over. But again, Auburn has the opportunity to play a few top 25 teams this year. AP poll is not out, but the coaches poll is out. A&M is going to be ranked. Oklahoma is going to find a way to be ranked. Georgia, Alabama, they're going to be ranked. Missouri could very well be ranked. And really, that's pretty much that list. I don't really believe that you're going to see. I mean, Ball State's not going to be ranked. Alabama ain't going to be ranked. Kentucky better not be ranked, or something went, I guess, right for them, but horrifically wrong for everyone else. Vanderbilt, I don't see Vanderbilt being ranked. Arkansas, I'm not sure about them being ranked. But yeah, you have winnable ranked teams. Winnable ranked games. There we go. Baylor isn't, I don't know if Baylor will be ranked to the AP, but again, I think you're going to see Oklahoma. Depending on that Michigan game, I think you're going to see Oklahoma in the top 25. A&M is going to be there. Georgia, again, definitely going to be there. Missouri could, and yeah, Auburn has to get back again in that winning mantra. I'm not going to spend too much longer on that because I kind of already talked about that a lot. But Auburn needs to be able to beat the better teams of the SEC. Needs to be able to beat the better teams in college football. And it's something Auburn has been very underwhelming in the fact that whenever a better team, per se, in terms of ranking, comes to town, Auburn tends to kind of take the L. So getting a top 25 win is massive. Auburn's got one last year versus Texas A&M, but again, that game took the whole off week. It took 3 days to finish that game. It started on Saturday night and ended Monday morning. Auburn needs to find a way to get multiple top 25 wins because that's how you ultimately build your resume back up, is being that team. That's how Kansas became a decent team all over again. They were able to take down those monsters of the Big 12. I mean, that Kansas-Texas overtime win thriller, I can't remember the fullback's name. I mean, the dude got an Applebee's commercial the next day. So you got to be able to get those wins when they come to you. Up next is kind of an offensive thing, 30 points per game. Now, 30 points per game does not sound like a whole lot until you realize Auburn has not accomplished that feat since 2019. And 2019's offense, I would argue, was not better than last year's offense. The running back room was substantially worse than what Auburn had last year. Boobie Whitlow was not a good running back like compared to Jarquez Hunter. Quarterback-wise, I mean, you had freshman Bo Nix, but a senior-led quarterback and Peyton Thorne should have been able to outperform Bo Nix. Auburn had a quarterback issue last year, so unable to make consistent plays and consistent decisions on the offensive front. 30 points per game does a lot of good for Auburn's offense moving forward. Again, 2019 was a very good year for Auburn football. That was a year where, if the offense had just been that much better, they would have been a playoff team. This was a defense. That was a defense that gave LSU a run for their money, and that's a Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase offense right there. That the defense, Derek Brown would have had a career day had he not been double teamed and held every single play, and they just let him get away with it. 30 points per game is not a massive or out of reach goal to reach, especially whenever you have a quarterback guru coach who specializes in the offensive side of the ball. Of course, Gus Malzahn was able to do this in 2019, was able to do it in 2020, but then, of course, after that, he got fired, and then Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze have not touched 20 or have not touched 30 yet. Last year, Auburn did score around 27, 28, but, I mean, that it just makes that much of a difference. I mean, just adding that many points to a game gets you a couple more wins for Auburn last year. So, last on my list, and of course, I think this is probably the most obvious one, so I'm going to make y'all wait for it. Quick little break, and we'll talk about the number one on the other side.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes, looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
Of course, you find those on thewarreport.com. Go check that out today. Of course, the merch is only one way to support the channel. Best way to support the channel is, of course, by liking the video, commenting on the video, of course, letting me know what you think Auburn has to do to prove to the college football world that they are back. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Get us to 1,000 subscribers before we hit the season. So, number one on my list for Auburn to prove to the college football world that they are back might be the most out of reach goal set, but I think this one does more for Auburn than any of the other ones. And that is, of course, by beating Alabama or Georgia. So, of course, those are Auburn's two biggest rivals, Alabama and the Iron Bowl, being one of the, I would say, the top rivalry in college football. I'm sorry, Michigan and Ohio State fans. It's just the facts. Y'all just take turns beating the absolute crap out of the other one. And then after a while, the other one sucks. So, that's on y'all. So, Auburn has not beaten Alabama since 2019. That was my sophomore year in college. That was a Bo Nix-led Auburn team that, took advantage of a couple of doinks from Alabama and was able to squeak out a win. Georgia, on the other hand, it has been since 2017 since Auburn has beaten Georgia. It's been since 2017 since they beat both of them. But that 17 team was able to absolutely throttle Georgia until they met again. That's the championship. So it does suck that it is like, you beat Georgia in 2017, but then they came around and beat you again in 2 weeks. But at that point, Auburn was absolutely beaten down. Coaches at Auburn are determined by how they perform against their rivals in the SEC. Coaches are fired because they are not able to beat Alabama. They're not able to beat Georgia. I mean, if you look on the road, Auburn has not won on the road versus Georgia since 2005. And I'm going to continue on with how old I was for each single accomplishment Auburn has. 2005, I was in kindergarten. Last time Auburn beat Georgia on the road. Luckily, you got both teams at Jordan-Hare this year. And, that plays into your favor. Auburn has been competitive versus these two teams over the past couple years under Hugh Freeze. And, of course, Hugh Freeze is one of the few coaches to have beaten Alabama multiple times. Again, I even added to that. One of the few coaches to have beaten Nick Saban multiple times. At that, Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban. But Kirby Smart is on a whole other level. I would say Kirby Smart's the closest you could probably get right now to Nick Saban. But those games were competitive last year. And this builds off of two, and it builds off all the other ones. You had opportunities to win both these games last year. You had Georgia in a close, hard-fought game, and then you choked it away because of a stupid read option that happened on 4th down. If you would have handed it to Jarquez, would have been a first down, and who knows what the outcome of that game would have been. But that was a substantial factor in why it just turned around for Georgia. Alabama, you had Jalen Milroe fumbling like Fannin all over the place. You were forcing turnovers left and right. The defense was having themselves a day, but the offense could not reciprocate that. 28-14 was that game. Again, Auburn is determined by how good they compete versus their rivals. No other Auburn fan hates a team more than they hate Alabama. And secondly, depending on how old of a fan you are, Georgia should be second. Some people have Florida, some have LSU. Georgia is number 2 on that list. You got to find ways to beat either one this year. You got to find ways to do that. You have them where you want them at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And people are saying Alabama's going to be a great team this year. I think Alabama has a lot of question marks to really prove that. Georgia, who knows if they're going to be able to rebuild? I think they lost a lot of talent last year. I don't know how that offense is going to look whatsoever. I think wide receiver-wise, they're pretty good. Quarterback, I don't fully trust Gunnar Stockton. Auburn has opportunities. You have Georgia in week 5 or week 6. You have Alabama in week 14. A lot of stuff can happen. But I think a win versus Georgia kind of gets you that A&M sacking Manziel victory in the sense of Auburn's back because he beat Georgia. Beating Alabama, I think does a lot. I've done a lot of research on what would have happened, like say the 2013 Iron Bowl. What would have happened if 4th and 31 Milroe gets sacked? Game over, Auburn wins, despite that stupid muffed punt that happened that I will never forgive for. If Auburn got that win, they add a win under their belt. No one's speculating on whether or not Hugh Freeze will keep his job in the next few years. That's what beating Alabama does. And the stupid thing is, on the other side of the state, they don't really think like that. They're a bunch of fans who have been spoiled to death and based off championships. Like if Kalen DeBoer had a winning record for his entire career at Alabama but won 0 championships, he's a failure. Auburn's to get to that mindset, but to do that, you have to beat your rivals. You have to be able to take down Alabama in Jordan-Hare Stadium. You have to be able to find a way to finally beat Georgia. My fiance is a Georgia fan, and we love watching the Auburn-Georgia game. She enjoys it a lot more than I do because I'm usually irate and irritated and not talking for the second half of the game. She enjoys laughing at me for that. I would enjoy to have it the other way around. So, yeah, beating Georgia, it would be an awesome thing to finally accomplish. Has not happened since Jarrett Stidham in 2017. So, big things to fix. Auburn is on the verge. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. Enough to make my systems moan, all the Imagine Dragon lyrics you could possibly say. But I honestly think Auburn can be a good team this year. They have the pieces. The wide receiver room is legit. The O-line is better than it was last year. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's way better. Xavier Chaplin is going to be an X factor. Running backs, I've heard great things about all the running backs, even all the way down to Omar Mapson. The defense played very well last year, and it was a young unit. Those guys got a year of development under their belt, plus a spring and a summer and a fall. Tweak a couple of things. If the quarterback is consistent, Auburn is a 7+ win team with consistent quarterback play last year. And I'm being conservative with that fact. Auburn is almost a 9 to 10 win team with consistent quarterback play. Get rid of the interceptions in Cal and Arkansas. I think Auburn wins both those games. offense actually does stuff that the defense is giving them and reciprocating the goodness. I don't know why I said that. the defense is doing. That's a win. Alabama, you actually act upon the turnovers you're given, and you win the Iron Bowl in Bryant-Denny Stadium, which you have not done since Cam Newton. Again, 2010. I was in 4th grade when that happened. I would love to watch Auburn be a good football team in my adulthood. And so to look back at when I was a kid. And that's being all my great memories of Auburn football was freshman year of college, sophomore year of college. Sophomore year of college all the way down to, when I can barely even remember, saying War Eagle for the first time. That's what Auburn needs to do. Auburn is on the verge. Auburn is a team historically. They're a program historically that should always be on the verge of competing for titles. And, of course, the numbers don't speak for themselves. Auburn only has 2 national championships, unless you go by technicalities, and they have 6. But, who's counting? But they are a team who's always in the conversation. Heisman Trophy winners, first-round picks. Auburn's got them. All-Americans. Auburn's got them. Auburn has All-Americans on this team. I would argue Auburn has about 5 players. If they play well enough, they will be All-Americans. Not SEC All-Americans, NCAA All-Americans, college football All-Americans, national All-Americans. If they can just get it right. So, let me know in the comment section below. What do you think Auburn needs to do to prove to the college football world they are back in 2025? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Of course, we're on the way up to 1,000 subscribers. Be super cool to reach that milestone before college football starts. Y'all got T-minus. I looked at my watch and it was dead. Y'all got 25 days or 24 days by the time this video is coming out. Not a hard milestone to reach. Don't worry. I don't want to have to make the multiple accounts to get there. So, of course, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Every single one of them at The College Loop. That's Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. The works on The College Loop. Got me on Instagram at Dylan DYLNLRCK. And, of course, you find me on Twitter, able to take a YABLTank. I talk football and just give my opinions on a lot of things a lot of times. And, of course, Instagram and TikTok for college football content, SEC content, and my, trying to work on building that up. Tank Talks Football is where you can find that. Of course, able to Tank on TikTok as well. Tank Talks Football YouTube is happening, but I've been busy. I've been trying to get those videos recorded. I have all the graphics made. I have the backgrounds made. I have to sit down and record the dang thing. So that's coming soon. So stay tuned for that. I'll give an announcement whenever that video is up and rolling. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in to the College Loop podcast. And as always, War Eagle.